Hello YouTube, this is Alrighty Then with another informative video. So what we have here today is, this is my water pump. I'm out in the country, in the sticks, so I have a well, and the water pump sucks the water from the well, pushes it up this pipe into this tank, which has pressure. It's got a diaphragm in there that when the motor's not running, it fills it up with water, and the diaphragm pushes the water through the house. And when the pressure gets to a certain amount, then the motor kicks in and repumps water from the well into the tank. And then it goes through the water softener and into the house so that we don't get hard water. So what has happened today is the main outlet pipe that goes to the house is cracked right here. You can see it's kind of dripping a little bit of water. So in order to fix this, I have to cut this pipe and mend it and put a new one. So I have a new pipe right here. It's threaded already. It's going to go in here. But I also have to cut this one because I can't cut this, pull it out, because I'll crack this pipe right here. It's kind of tricky. You know, you have to be very careful. So in order to fix PVC, you need PVC cement. And this is the PVC cement right here. This is a primer that you apply before you put the cement. And there are two types. This one is dyed purple, and this one is a clear primer. So for example, if you're doing work around the house, or if you're making a project, then the clear primer is good because it doesn't stain the PVC pipe. If you're doing work that has to be inspected by an inspector, most of the time they want to see the purple primer because that way they know that you actually used primer on it. So that's why the primer is dyed, and it's very don't get it on your clothes. Okay? So we've got the PVC cement, the primer, and it's either clear or purple, whichever one you want. And you have to know, working on PVC is the easiest thing you can do. It's like putting Legos together. It's very, very easy. Don't be intimidated by it. It's super easy. So, now notice in this configuration here, I have a straight solid pipe and a straight solid pipe right here. The problem with that is because I've been here about 4 or 5 years now, and this was put brand new when we moved in. So because it cracked, I have a feeling. I've got a feeling. Well, I have a feeling that it's possible that if I fix this, it's going to break again. Because every time the motor turns on, it kind of jerks. And these things, it's plastic. So after a while, the jerking, it'll crack. Luckily, this is out of the sun, so I don't have to worry about the UV corrosion. So what I'm going to do is they make these little couplers where this is going to go up here like that. This one's going to go down here. And they come together. So both pieces are going to come together like so. And then this thing right here is going to hold them together. And now it's a solid hold. So I'm going to have to screw this into here. And then screw that into the motor. And then I'll have another piece of PVC. This little piece right here, it's a female to male adapter, 1 inch. So this is going to go into this pipe, which is going to be screwed into here. And I'm also going to do the same thing for this pipe right here. Just in case, if it should break again, or let's say the motor burns out, I don't have to do everything again. Because right now I still have enough PVC where I can cut it and splice it and make it work. But the minute I cut into this, that's it. I can't use it anymore because now if I put a coupler, the coupler is going to be about this big, and I no longer have any more space to work with. If I do that and it breaks again, I'd have to change everything because everything is glued solid. You can't unglue it. Once it's glued, the PVC cement melts one piece of PVC into the other. So when you're going to do these type of things, it's really important that you think it through. So now that I have my game plan, the next part is, I thought I had all my tools ready. The next step is to cut everything to make it fit. So if you use a saw, and let me turn off my main to the house, and I'm going to turn off the tank. So now once I cut these pipes, no water is going to leak anywhere. I'll be good to go. And I don't have to worry about repriming the system, because once I have everything connected again and I open the valve to the main, it's going to pump water into the motor, which will prime it already. So I don't have to worry about the primer. Plus I have a stop valve that goes into the well that keeps the water from going back down into the well. Okay? So this is the problem. If I use a saw, I'm going to get a bunch of little particles of PVC that potentially could fall into the tube. And if I don't get them all out, there's a possibility that those little particles will go through the plumbing into the house, and they may clog something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these PVC cutters here. Now, you have to be real careful with them, because if your PVC is old and brittle, because you're using pressure, and this has a ratcheting action that slowly compresses and closes, potentially you could break the wall of the PVC and it'll render the whole thing useless. So that's a gamble that you have to take. And I have one that's 1 inch here, and I have this big one for this bigger pipe. This one will work for all of them, but you have to be real careful how you do it. If you feel that it's going to cut, or, you know, when they're out in the sun, the PVC gets brittle, and if you use it, the compression, it'll just crack the PVC. But I'm going to take a gamble. I think that I can do it with no problem. Otherwise, I would just use the saw. And it's really easy. You just cut it as level as possible. You take the little burrs out, and you're good to go. So I'm going to do this all on one take so that you guys can see that it doesn't take a really, really long time to get this to work. All right, so wish me luck. And here we go. So we are going to have a little bit of water leak once I cut these pipes. Actually, it's not going to leak. I'm going to cut the top pipe first. I'm going to cut the bottom pipe first. Get this coupler ready. And then I'll do the top one. So I've turned off the power to the motor already, so that way when the pressure goes down, it's not going to leak on me. Or it's not going to go off. So here we go. So I'm going to cut this right about the middle. And I'm applying slight pressure, very little pressure, so that I slowly dig into the wall of the PVC. And here I'm kind of letting the knife, the blade, do some of the preliminary cutting for me. There we go. Oh, snap. Okay. So it actually broke. The pipe didn't split, but it just like snapped. So that's good. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But it could have been bad. So now let's cut this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut it a little bit low and then trim it back later. Just in case it cracks right here, I'll have enough, but I need enough to grab this. So let me cut this piece right here, and then I'll trim it out later. Okay. Alright, so we don't need this anymore. It's hot. Okay, so here is my motor that has been disconnected. Here's my bottom pipe. So I was about to scare myself there. This part is going to go here, and I'm going to glue this to it right there, and this part is going to go glued to here, and then when they're ready, they're both going to fit together, and it's going to be a nice fit. But in order to do that, I have to remove about 1/2 inch of material in order for this to go here. So my PVC pipe isn't cracked, so that's good. But since I don't have to worry about stuff falling up the pipe, I'm going to go ahead and remove the half with this, just so that I don't use the blade and potentially cut or crack the hose. So let me get this a little bit closer. Ouch. Okay. So now I'm just going to cut that about 1/2 inch off. Alright, so you see all these little shards, right? They can get stuck in your pipes. You want to make sure you get them all out. There we go. A little natural wash. Okay, so let's make sure that we have all the pieces, okay? So this piece here, I'm going to leave it here so that I know it's always there. This is the piece. This piece is going to go here because the screw is going to come on the motor here. So let me do it just a dry fit. So that looks like it's going to fit. If I bang this down in a little bit more and maybe put this in, look at that. Perfect fit. So now when I put this here, this is not going to go anywhere. And in the future, if I need to repair it, I could just unscrew it, take it out, and I'm good to go. So now that I know that it fits, I'm going to go ahead and put it in. You know, sometimes PVC, when you're putting it together, it grabs real well. So you got to be careful. Alright, so even if there's water there, it's not a big deal because the primer is going to kind of clean everything up. So I have a rag. I had a rag. Let me go get my rag. Okay, so I'm back. Don't forget your... So let me just dry this off a little bit. And I'm just going to put my finger in here to lower the water level so I could dry this off. Okay? I'm going to use the purple primer so you guys could see. You guys could see it going on. So you just take the primer and just kind of do that. Just coat it. That's it. And the primer kind of takes off some of the dirt, some of the grease to make sure that it bonds really well. Okay? So that's there. That's that. And now I have my PVC cement. And I have my two pieces. And I have to remember that this is the top piece because this is going to screw into that. And this is the bottom piece. So you have to apply primer also to these pieces as well. So I'm just going to go around in a circle like this. Just get the whole coated, inside coated. Same thing with this one. Get the inside nice and coated. Okay. It's pretty straightforward stuff, man. It's not rocket science. And that's my PVC cement. And what I'm going to do is I really want a nice bond, so I'm just going to put some on both sides. So I'm going to put some on the inside of this one. And I'm going to put some around here. And I'm going to press this down all the way. Now you got to work quick. You got to be real careful. And you have to work quick. Because if you don't, you could potentially, when you put the PVC in, you got to push it in real fast because it grabs real quick. It's almost like super glue. So you got to work with it real fast. And I'm just going to clean some of this glue that leaked out of it with the primer, and that's you can use that as well to clean, so that you don't have to worry about it messing up. I wanted to clean it just to make sure that this pipe doesn't get glue on it, because then it won't screw in. See? Alright, so that's there. And we got to keep this surface nice and clean, because this one, where the O-ring is, or was, is going to go right on top of it. Make sure you don't mess up the O-ring. And the O-ring goes right here, right inside here like that. And that's just going to keep this thing from leaking. So now that I have that side in, I'm going to go ahead and put glue here. In this one. You don't want to get glue on the threads because it'll mess it up. And I'm going to put some around here. Okay, a liberal amount. And then just push this all the way in. That's it. You can even twist, and that's it. Alright. So that's that for that. Now let's do this piece. So with my trusty plumbers, I'm going to be removing this piece right here. These Husky plumber pipe things are pretty good because they're self-adjusting and you don't have to be messing around with them too much. Okay, so I took that piece out and it was cracked right around here somewhere. Okay, so I'm just going to take that out and I'm going to clean that opening. I'm taking out all the old Teflon tape from the old hole there. Oh, snap, there goes all my primer. Whew, good job. Good job. Nice. Cleaning everything out, make sure it's all good. Alrighty, so now I bought two little fittings, the smaller one and this big one. And based on what I see here, I don't think I'll have a lot of room for the big one. So I'm gonna use Teflon tape and screw the bottom ones together and into here. And this is the Teflon tape. And you always want to put it against the rotation that you're going to screw it in. So this thing screws in like that. It screws in this way. So I want to put it this way, clockwise from the threads. If I'm holding the piece on my left hand, I go clockwise with my right hand. And what this does, and you want to put like maybe 4 or 5 layers, and it just pulls right off, because when I screw this in, notice that it's going to be wrapping against itself, and then I don't risk it unraveling. So I'm going to do the same thing with this side now. Left hand, I'm holding it with my left hand, and I'm going clockwise with my right, and I'm going to give it about 5 turns so I get a nice amount of stuff on there so that it holds. Alright, and that's that. And this is my bottom piece, so I'm going to screw that into here. And I'm just going to go ahead and start screwing it into the top part right there. And in order not to mess up the threads, once this gets tight enough on the top, it'll automatically tighten the bottom one. So now you don't want to over tighten it, because then you risk, busting it. So I think that's good right there. That's perfect. Now, this is the tricky part, but not so tricky part. See, I screwed up. I should have put this first. Now I gotta undo it. My bad. That's what I get for talking to you guys. But that's okay. I don't do bloopers and I don't cut my stuff, so what you see is what you get. I should have known better. So, no big deal. I'm just going to have to reapply some Teflon tape. Okay, I got my tape. Now I'm going to put this sucker in here, and let's do that again. Not a big deal, see? Just a couple minutes of inconveniences. Alright. So it's in there, like ragu. It's in there. Okay, so now I'm going to put this piece here. And remember that this is going to have to be screwed into it. And then it's going to go right there. So notice how I'm going to have to cut quite a bit of this pipe off. So this one I have to do it exactly, otherwise it won't work very well. But once I get it, again, the piece is on my left hand, and I'm going clockwise around the piece. So the reason I'm putting this on here first is because I need to make sure that it's tied down as far as it'll go, all the way. Hold on a second. I think I need to go get another pair of pliers. Give me 1 minute. Alright, so that was about 30 seconds that I was gone just to get my pliers. So again, I'm going to hold this so I don't mess up my threads. I just want to make sure that I get this on there real nice and tight. Okay. These are awesome plumber things. Okay, that's good. That's not going anywhere. Okay. I make sure that my seal is there, and before I seal them, I'm actually going to put some Vaseline on there to make sure that it can unstick when I want it to. So this is going to go here like that. Okay, so if we back this up a little bit, the pipe can go in here this much, about 1 inch. So I need to leave 1 inch of material from the very top so that it can go all the way. So I'm going to cut this right about here. So let me get that out of the way. So now, just so you're aware, there's different type of thicknesses of the pipes. There's schedule 40 and there's schedule 80. This is 40, which is about 3/16, and the Schedule 80 is about almost a 1/4 inch thick. So that's why you want to put this on the motor and not that. And even with the 1/4 inch, it's still cracked. So notice how much material I cut off the pipe. All this. So now I'm going to go ahead and see, I have to have these pieces apart in order for me to do this. I'm making sure I grab all these little chunks off of here. Okay. So now notice that I had to do this first, and now this is going to slip all the way in, and this should go right in there with no problem. So now again we're going to put the primer, and we put the primer on this side, and I'm going to put primer on this side. Make sure I close it this time. Let me make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Yes, you can. Okay, good. So now I'm going to use the cement. And again, this is going to go here. Like that. And I'm going to put some cement right on this pipe, right in here. And then I'm going to jam it in as far as it'll go. And notice, it's going to go right in. Now it's okay that there's that little gap there, because the PVC does flex a little bit, so that's not a big deal. So now I'm pretty much ready to go. I've got this here. Let me go get the Vaseline, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This time no Vaseline. I'm just going to do this just like that. Clean surface here. Clean surface here. Make sure the O-ring is in there. I got a nice clean surface. Look at that. Some of the cement got on here. Huh. See, it even distorts the shape. Just got to make sure that's good enough. I don't think anything should leak out of there. Okay. And make sure that nothing leaked out from there. Alright, there's my O-ring. Okay, so here's the test of truth. So that's going to go in like this. Notice that there's a little gap and a little gap. Not a big deal, because this is going to go in here. And I'm just going to screw this on. That's going to go hand tight. Here comes the bottom one. I can't get it any tighter than that by hand. And I don't want to use the pliers, because I'm afraid I'll break it. Alright people, the test of truth. So now that the work is done, notice how it fits all back together. And the cool thing about PVC is that you don't have to wait days or hours in order for it to seal. It's pretty much almost instantaneous. But I'm just kind of stalling just a little bit. So let's turn on the main. And we'll turn on the one to the tank. And no leaks. So that means that the job has been successfully done. So just so you can see what it looks like, there it is. No leaking. And here's the bottom one. Again, no leaking. So this just goes to show you that this type of stuff is not hard to do. It's not hard to do, you know. These repair guys come to your house and they tell you, oh, it's going to be $300 to get this thing fixed. But I think I spent maybe about $15 on supplies. These are about $3.50 or something like that. So $4, $8. The coupler was another $1. I had to buy 2 of these pipes. These are just $1 a piece as well. So this one, I'm just going to keep it just in case, you never know. This is an old one that I had, so I'm keeping that as well. And when it comes to the PVC cement, if you're going to do small projects, get the small bottles. If you have a lot of stuff to do, get the big stuff. This one I had used because I did my whole irrigation system. And it's not hard, man. It's not hard. If you could put a little puzzle together, it's not hard at all. And the cool thing is with PVC, you can kind of cut it, and if you cut it too long, you can cut it a little bit shorter. And if you cut it too short, you can always maybe stretch the PVC together. So it's not that hard to do. Trust me, it's not that hard at all. You can do it. It's all up to you. Okay. With a little planning, you can change your life today. You know the rest of the song. Anyway, guys, I think we have a successful build here. So here we go. One last time. The motor, the pipe, the coupler. We have no leaks. This is a successful one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye, YouTube.